let's just go through this. I'll start with like the medical aspect of this thing. The main one that came out of our game was Julian Blackmon. Unfortunate injury, shoulder, and so that'll probably it'll be a long one. It'll be a long one potentially for the full season, and so that's a tough one. Obviously, going through a first game of the season, there's a lot of maintenance that will be applied this week, and that's all part of the NFL process for us. And so everyone else, for the most part, came out of it clean. There'll be some maintenance guys. We'll have to see how the week progresses with those guys, but nothing long term. As that stands currently. And so, outside of that, we got a chance to watch the film today. It was an awesome game. It was an awesome game. Ultimately we had some missed opportunities. And so we got to play a cleaner game. We got to give ourselves a chance. But we put ourselves in a position to compete all the way to the end. Love the way our guys competed, played. The play style was awesome. We just got to play a smarter, cleaner game. And we'll continue to grow in that aspect.
It seemed like Julian played the whole game. When did that come up?
It really wasn't until after the game that it was recognized, and so really even after the game, once Julian went home, and so bummer for him, just because he's done such an amazing job of coming in here and putting himself in an awesome position to have a great season, and he played great on Sunday as well.
I had a question about the play down in the red zone, the 3rd and 5 from it looked like Chris was maybe the only guy that was running the route with. Was that kind of like a sneak attack type play, or what was supposed to happen?
Yeah, the goal was to stay down there and give ourselves a couple run opportunities because we were 2nd and 3 at the 3, and obviously we lost a few yards, and it was kind of a 1-2 play call combination, and put ourselves in a little bit of a challenging spot with the negative run, and it was a challenging spot, and so as a result, we kind of only had one guy left available to us, and had the ability to hand the ball off or throw it, and and so it kind of turned into a tough deal there.
Spencer was saying that maybe he was expecting a little bit more pressure from Arizona, and they ended up playing a lot more shell. Is that maybe something you anticipate seeing a lot of, just because of what y'all have been good at in the past with the kind of vertical game?
It's a fair assessment, I think. Week ones, we knew there was always going to be an element of unknown. I think they did an excellent job. They played a lot of cover 2 early in the game. We recognize that. They did a good job of making it earn it. We had 4 10-plus play drives. They were going to make us go the distance in some of those situations. When we did have the one-on-one opportunities, we weren't able to capitalize on those in some situational football. And so, it was a good experience for our guys. Ultimately, we weren't able to create the explosives that you need in this league, and we weren't able to finish drives, as the drives progressed.
Did you just, going back and being able to watch everything, find sort of a through line to the pre-snap penalties and things like that?
Yeah, a lot of just detail, and it seemed like a lot of it was once the drive started going, and we kind of got ourselves in situations. A lot of procedurals. Obviously, it's something we put a ton of resources into this offseason, so it's a bummer to see it come up in this game. We'll spend a lot of time this week really emphasizing it. I think our guys recognize that, if you take that element out of it, there's a lot of good in this game. But it put us in some compromised situations, and so simply that's going to be what the results are when you put yourself in those situations. And so, perimeter guys, quarterback, offensive line, everyone kind of had a couple in there, and so we got to do a better job.
Did the crews call those differently? Because it seems like you watch one game and it's Tyreek Hill looks like he's getting a 5-yard start, and then it seems really tightly called in this game.
The numbers would say there's sometimes some fluctuation based off game to game. That's natural, and that's what's going to happen. And so they were going to call it tight. They called it tight, throughout the game. And so, we got to play a cleaner ball though.
Just to clear it up, you said Julian was the only one who suffered a long-term.
Yeah.
So Tolly, okay. Yeah.
Tolly, we'll see. That'll be kind of take it through the week. There's certainly plenty of guys that come out of a first game that just have that maintenance. We'll just have to navigate this whole week, but. Nothing to the degree that Julian has.
When was that injury first detected? Did he keep trying to play through it for a while?
Tolly? Yeah, that's a great question. I think just during the game, and it just became a thing that just kept kind of bothering him, and ultimately we had to make the decision to slide Awesome in there and give him a chance and put us in a position there. And so, Tolly will have to go through this week and see how it all progresses.
And with Julian, you mentioned he got home and then he was feeling discomfort, and he came in for testing this morning.
That's what adrenaline does to you during games, I guess. So, sometimes those things happen for these guys. There's a lot of juice and energy in games, and you make big-time plays, and everyone's sore after a football game. That's just what happens when you're out there, and sometimes it takes a little bit of time to realize, what's soreness and what's an injury, and, unfortunately, this is the way it went down for Julian.
For Fuaga, did it, did doctors come to you and say like, hey, we should sit this guy, or did you pull him so, like what?
Yeah, just during the game, they just told me Tully was down. So, yeah.
Is Julian's injury the same one he dealt with last year?
I don't have the answer for that.
It's a torn labrum.
It's a shoulder deal. So,
Did you notice a difference in Chris, the way that like he went down like in the open field, like given the injury history, like did he react to things differently, or?
I don't think he reacted any differently. I thought he did a couple really good examples of where he caught the ball. He knows there's a player on the inside and the outside of me, and I'm trying to split guys and get vertical and get as many yards as we can. I think it's something we talk about a lot. I thought, for Chris, he responded really well. He took a tremendous big hit, to the chest, and the way he responded, I think, shows his resiliency and his toughness that, he's obviously had to deal with some of the, the big hit components in his career. And, I thought he did an awesome job of just keep fighting and keep battling. And he had a few little nagging things come up throughout the game, and he just kept going.
How's he doing today? He's
good. Yeah, he's good. Yeah, he's fine.
What do you think of the
With Julian, just in terms of somebody stepping into his place and all that, have you seen enough over training camp to kind of already know who that is, or do you take that into this week's practice?
We'll definitely have to have those conversations to put ourselves in a position. We certainly feel like we have a number of guys. Early in this process, we've invested in a lot of those guys to get a ton of reps, and so we feel like we're not bringing someone in that isn't familiar with this thing. We got a number of guys who can go play that, and that's a conversation that we'll have to have tomorrow, just to narrow our focus and put someone in a position, or a combination of a couple guys, put them in position to be ready for Sunday.
And how is that influenced at all by what the opponent does, or do you focus more on the person that fits what you want to do?
Well, I think, we got to focus on ourselves. Certainly, there's times where, it becomes relevant for the opponent, but with Julian being gone for, essentially probably the year, we got to get these guys ready to go and, create some continuity for them.
Jan playing in base, was that related to Alante being limited throughout the week?
I think Ike's done an awesome job. I think he's earned it. As far as Alante, he just came back this week really from a practice perspective, and so he really had one full week. We left him inside at the nickel/star position, and I thought he did an awesome job. I thought Alante played a really, really good game.
Is there anything
Does Stanley kind of put his guys in a good spot to highlight his playmakers? I don't know, that's kind of a big but it just seems like there's a lot of guys that flash and are in position to really make plays.
I thought Brandon called a really good game. I thought he gave us a chance. Thought the timing of when he called, pressures was really well calculated. The right timing protected us in some situations that we got a little bit stressed, and were able to kind of hold on, and maybe force a field goal or whatever it may be. And so, I thought our defense did a really good job. That second quarter felt like there was a lot of extended drives, and a lot of that came down to these third and extra longs that we weren't able to take advantage of, but they extended drives, and they were able to kind of hold on to it for a while there.
I was going to ask about the defense, if there was anything that stood out to you in a good way, or
Yeah, I thought the play style, the way we pursued the football, the run game, they did an excellent job against the run game. Ultimately, they had one really big run, and you don't get to take that one away, so that one counts for every yard that it got. Grando did a great job pursuing that. He tackles the guy and saves us 4 points. And I think that shows the effort that our guys are playing with. And now we just need to clean up. We have some third and extra longs that we're in great position to just get them out off the field, and we weren't able to convert.
What went into Vernon Braun?
Yeah, just a rotation thing. Obviously we love Vernon. He did an awesome job during training camp. We only usually have 5 guys in that position, and so felt like Jonah, with his versatility and being able to line up in a couple other spots as kind of a backstop to a number of those guys that I did really well. Bullard was available to us as well to be a heavy inside guy to kind of play the run game, and so we'll just see how all that stuff plays out.
Kellen, I know you got asked a number of times about those timeouts before halftime last night, but just one follow-up, because it threw so many people off to see it approach that way. What would be a benefit to not using that minute 10?
Yeah, no, we definitely had the conversation on the headset. I was close to calling one, and as we kind of navigated it, they still had 3 timeouts. Felt like we were in a good position to get the ball in the second half. I could see us calling timeouts in those scenarios too. It's just kind of anticipating getting the ball back. see if we can stuff them down the red zone, force a field goal, and then it gave us a little bit of time to kind of see what happens. We did have the 3 timeouts, but they had 3, and they had 3, and so they could easily get the ball and flip it back around if we had done that.
Yeah, that's it. You would control when the half ended, basically. That way.
Yeah, and so I can easily see us calling timeouts in those situations too in other games, and so it's a situation that's very fair to evaluate it that way. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. You certainly could use timeouts there, and so we'll see how the next.
It's like if you went 3 and out, you didn't want to leave on times.
Yeah, we get the ball in the second half, and they had all 3, and felt like we were close down there, and so.
When you reviewed it this morning, like, you look at about the process, stuff going into it, like, you want to change anything?
Game-wise?
Yeah. Or just like with the timeout specifically, but it could be game, anything.
Yeah, I feel like our operation was pretty clean. We gave ourselves a chance at the end, put ourselves in position. We kept it kind of, we need to convert a little cleaner in the red zone on offense. We need to convert some more third downs. We need to put ourselves in better third downs. Felt like our defense did a really good job. I thought teams-wise, we did some really good things. Like Kai did an awesome job punting the football, flipping the field a couple times, pinning them back. We were able to keep it in that 1-score game margin for the most part there, and ultimately gave ourselves a chance at the end. And we felt like that those guys play a bunch of games like that. Jonathan does an awesome job just managing the game for those guys, and they seem to play those tight games every single week. Going back to last year, and so we had our chances.
With Devon Daly's snap count, how much of that was him just still getting here, still getting up to speed, or is that just kind of maybe how it's going to be for him with all the other guys today?
It's really just him getting here. Obviously we're acclimating him. We did get into some more, a little bit pass heavy, towards the end, or at least tempo offense, just because we got to that down 2 scores, and so we were playing a little bit faster, and so less substitution, more just play on the ball, and so kind of kept those other 3 in a little bit more in those situations.
Arizona didn't necessarily blitz maybe as much as we thought that they would, but when you watched sort of Spencer handling the blitz, like what stood out to you in that area of his performance?
I thought he did a good job of understanding when he was stressed and making really good decisions with the football in those situations. I thought our O-line did a really good job protecting, to throw it. I think we were through it 46, 47 times, somewhere right around there. 1 sack. I felt like those guys did some really good things in the pass protection game. And so, obviously it's a good battle for us. Certainly we want a little bit more balance in normal situations, normal flow. We'd love to get a little bit more of the run game alive in those. But again, when you get the penalties and you get the negative situations there, you put yourself behind the sticks and you got to kind of catch up.
When you watch Blake Smith, what went to that?
Yeah. I don't have the full conclusion there, but it was just a missed opportunity there, and so we'll work on that routine.
When you all have so many pre-snap penalties, especially after the emphasis you put on it in the offseason about the fundamentals and technique, what can you do during the week other than emphasizing it verbally? What can you do to fix that for next week?
Yeah, we're going to put together a really good plan over the next day as far as just everything that we can, as far as officiating it throughout the week, being really nitpicky about it. We've certainly spent a lot of resources between team meetings. Even this past week, we knew that game was going to be officiated really tight from the line of scrimmage. That's just the way we anticipated it going. And we just got to be cleaner. We got to be more precise with things. Our guys got to understand their responsibilities so that we're not put in those situations where we're maybe not organized as well as we should be in those tempo situations.
How do you work on something you don't want to show anyone, like a training camp, i.e. maybe like the touch push? Like when are you guys like working on that play? Like just
Yeah, we've been working on it throughout the off season. So just little bits and pieces, and there's a lot of situational football stuff that obviously you're not going to do during training camp or preseason games, I should say, and you're going to try and find different opportunities to work it.
When you said officiated with the pre-snap stuff, do you literally bring in officials or do you just do that internally?
We'll look at what the best options are. Certainly it's something we've discussed, and we'll see what's available to us this week. But it'll be a big emphasis for us.
Do you think the tempo at all contributed to some of the pre-snap? I think like 3 of the 7 offensive were during no huddle.
Yeah, there were some no huddle sequences where we just got to be cleaner. We got to be cleaner. We got to line up, be more precise. We got to communicate at a higher level, and so because the tempo gave us some advantages in some situations, we felt like it was really positive for us. But we got to play cleaner football in there.